Hey, you guys, it's Jim, and this is week 3 on the YouTube Pagan Challenge, put forth by the Sea Priestess. And week 3 is a topic that I've been super excited to talk about. Super excited because it's been something that's been really up in the air for me in my practice lately. Like, well, I'll say lately, like the past year, a little more, maybe. I don't know, maybe. And anyway, the topic is um, what is your take on the wheel of the year? I love this topic. I love talking about holidays. um, I for this past season, like so not winter but autumn, this past autumn, I really revamped my spiritual practice for this coming year, for the wheel of the year speaking. But for the past like year or so, I've really been I've really been kind of in between on the wheel of year, like in terms of redefining it and what do I celebrate and why do I celebrate it. Um, you know, there's not there's so much information out there on Wicca and witchcraft, but not too much else in terms of paganism. I think personally, particularly when it comes to like their holidays. And I don't profess to be Wiccan, so which is nothing wrong with Wicca. It's just, but it's not my path. Um, Although I mean, of course, I've been influenced by it. Who's not? But anywho, I've just never felt extremely connected to follow all of the Sabbats. Um, I just don't jive with some of them. Like, and I've tried. I tried for years, and celebrated most of them anyway. But my heart was never in it, and there were some that I gravitated to more than others regularly. It didn't switch. It was like these are the ones that I got experiences from, and yeah, some were surprises. But some I've never been able to really connect with the energy of it. I don't know. I don't know if I can explain it. Um, I, they just didn't mesh with my soul, I guess. I don't know. But I did make some notes, so if I keep looking over, that's what it is. But no, like the rest of my practice, I had to kind of like invent some of it, kind of create my own wheel aside from like the 8 Sabbath wheel that were normally shown. And yeah, I made a little list so I wouldn't forget. And I guess I'll just read through them and kind of explain as I go. But my wheel of the year, starting in January, like the traditional Julian calendar year. I'll just start like that because that's easiest. Um, like January 1st, I do celebrate New Year's, as I think most people do, like regardless of religion, right? Or spiritual practice, you just celebrate New Year's. And yeah, some people do it on different days in different cultures, but you still celebrate the New Year. And of course, here in America, we celebrate it on the 1st of January. And I celebrate that. I mean, it's hello, it's the new year, and all the stuff that's associated with that, like transformation and change and all this. So I celebrate New Year's. Now February like 1st/2nd, is see, I almost kind of forget some of the names of the witch's wheel. Imbolc, right? Imbolc. Um, I do celebrate that day, but I don't actually call it Imbolc. And not because I'm like, grr, I refuse to use your names. It's nothing like that. I just don't actually like the name Imbolc. I just don't like that word. I don't know, I just don't like it. So I was like, I'm gonna call it something else, just cause. Which, and I mean no disrespect at all to any witches and Wiccans who may watch this. I don't mean to offend you in any way. Like I really don't. Um, it's just some words I don't like, and I just don't want to use them. I want to. I want my spiritual practice to be something that I completely like subscribe to, not something that I pick and take, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, like, I don't like this about Wicca, but I guess since I like this and this, I'll follow it. You know, like, if my heart's not in something 100%, then I'm not gonna put my energy into it. Um, but anyway, oh, by the way, I feel like I put a disclaimer in every video I make. But, disclaimer! um, some of these things that I'm going to pronounce, I know that they're being pronounced wrong. It's just the way I like to pronounce them. I mean, do you see a theme here now? It's like I just do what I want, period. Like, which some people, I know that rubs them the wrong way. So, if I pronounce some things wrong, trust me, it's on purpose. I've looked up the correct way to pronounce it, and I just kind of like the way I say it better. It rolls off my tongue easier. It's what came to me when I first read it, etc., etc., etc. But no, so for me, February 2nd, and of course, there's a 3-day cusp celebration on all these holidays for me. Like, I'll celebrate on any of these 3 days, like the day before, the day after, and the day of. Or sometimes all three. So, anywho, in bulk for me is just kind of like a mirror day, like the day of reflection. Because again, this is just how my practice has evolved over time. These holidays, some of them have just over time become what they are now to me. It's not like I purposely went out and was like, I'm gonna change in bulk and I'm gonna make it a day of nothing but reflection for me, like introspection. No, it's just kind of how in bulk evolved from me and to me, all of these over all these years. Um, but no, it's my day of reflection. Usually on that day, I'm extremely introspective. I don't speak much. I think about my darkness and my light. But it's a day where I definitely think about my darkness and I reflect on it and do some shadow stuff and some like netherworld work, some pain work, and then I kind of let myself start to hope and dream and bring in the light towards the end of it. February 14th. Yes, this is technically a Christian holiday, right? February 14th, Valentine's Day, Saint Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is my favorite holiday. It's my favorite holiday. Seriously, like, my favorite. Because it's all about love and compassion. And who doesn't love love? I mean, come on. If you don't, then you're numb and jaded. You just are. Love has been a big part of my spiritual path. Learning to love, learning to accept love, and learning to give love. That's been a huge part of my path. It just is, and always will be. Love is just, and sympathy and empathy and compassion, like all these positive, like heartwarming feelings and emotions and concepts are just such a part of my practice that I just felt like I needed a day to celebrate them all. And yeah, I probably could have looked up the feast of like a feast day of some god or goddess of love, but Valentine's Day, it just works for me. It's just fine. I don't have a problem with it having any Christian connotations. It's fine. My path is so eclectic anyway. I love Valentine's Day. I call it Valentine's Day. I decorate my house like crazy with Valentine's Day stuff. I give Valentine's gifts to everyone, all kinds of people, not just people I'm in a relationship with. I give them to strangers. I just love Valentine's and Valentine's Day. I love it. It's just super magical to me. It has been since I was a little bitty kid. My mom had a storybook that she used to read to me occasionally when I was really little. And my favorite story in it was a Valentine's Day story. And I made her read it all the time. And it was just magical to me then. So, I love Valentine's Day. March 17th. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. St. Patrick's Day. Another, like, Catholic holiday. I've had such a battle with this holiday. Because, the whole, like, driving the snakes out of Ireland thing, St. Patrick being a big jerk against pagans and stuff, which is, like, some people debate whether that's factual or not, and, like, did they mean pagans and stuff like that. But, yeah, forever I was like, fuck St. Patrick's Day. I'm not celebrating that. Of course you celebrate everything as a kid, and it's just fun. But, as I got older and realized that I was pagan, and, found it and accepted it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about St. Patrick's Day, you guys. I kind of feel pissed about it. But now, things change over time. Our vocabularies change, like as a culture. Words change, and the meanings behind those words change. Like queer. Um, that used to mean the word strange. And I'm speaking specifically of my experience with that word and here in Alabama of the United States. Right? Speaking of my culture, my personal culture, immediate culture around me. That word used to mean strange, right? But now, no one, I mean, seriously, no one I've ever met has used the word queer to mean strange. They just use it to mean gay. Um, Sometimes negatively and sometimes not. But, yeah, like, the word queer has changed. Um, it's just changed. Its meaning has changed. It's the same with faggot and a lot of other gay slurs. They used to mean one thing, now they mean this. Like the term gay. It's supposed to mean happy, supposed to be. But now it just means, homosexual people. I feel it's the same way with holidays. Like when I get to the Christmas stuff, I'll talk about that too. It's not really a Christ Mass anymore. I mean, even atheists celebrate it. So, for me, St. Patrick's Day has just become like an Irish Pride Day or like Celtic Pride. It's just, and even over there in Ireland, from what I have gathered, that's the way it seems to be too. Most people aren't really celebrating it for St. Patrick and like being like, "Whoa, St. Patrick, you're great. You made this nation great." They're just getting drunk, and it's almost like Mardi Gras here in the South, where you don't celebrate for the original reason. You just celebrate to have fun, like holidays are supposed to be. This time of relax and escape from the norm, you know? So now I do celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but I usually do just call it like Celtic Pride Day or Irish Pride Day. But I wear the green and everything, and I usually do. Well, I was gonna say spells. I guess spells sometimes, but I do work with specifically Celtic deities on that day. I honor my ancestors. I have Scottish and Irish ancestry that's very, very close to me now. So, like my family immigrated from Scotland and Ireland, two separate parts, obviously, my father's side, my mother's side, just not that long ago, um, like right before World War II. So that's not that long ago. So I do honor that. Um, so I celebrate St. Patrick's Day. March 21st. Okay, this is one that I know I pronounce incorrectly, but I just like the way that I say it. Ostara or Easter. I say Iastre. I just do. I like the way it sounds. That's the way it first came to me when I was reading it in a book when I was younger. I was like, Iastre. And slowly it just became from Iastre to Iastre. So I just say Iastre. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. But I'm not really sorry, so. Iastre. I really love that holiday. I think people forget, though, sometimes, in my experience again, that Iastre is a goddess. Like, Ostara is a goddess. Like, that's not just the name of the holiday, that's the name of a deity. And sometimes I think people forget that. But no, I love Iastre. I do all the typical witchy things on that holiday. I love it. I really do love that holiday. Um, May 1st, which is, what is it called? Beltane, right? I think that's, yeah, May 1st is Beltane, right? I use that day as well. I love Beltane. But again, I don't really call it Beltane. Like when I'm talking about it to friends, I'm like, oh, Beltane's coming up. No, I usually just say like Morgan Le Fay Day. Again, because I'm such a fan of the Mists of Avalon, despite the author, and it was such a huge influence on my path. Morgan Le Fay Day, which makes sense if you read the Mists of Avalon, how that holiday relates to her. Because I know people say like the Morgan and stuff is all about Samhain, but I celebrate the Morgan and Morgan Le Fay and sex all on May 1st. I just do. That's me personally. That's when I venerate my goddess of choice slash being chosen. Anyway, that's when I usually celebrate that. I think my cats are getting crazy. They always do this when I make a video. It never fails. So yeah, Morgan Le Fay Day, May 1st. Love it. June 21st is another really big favorite holiday of mine. Probably right after Valentine's Day. And of course that's midsummer, right? Or like Litha. I love the word Litha actually, and I've heard some people say that that's not actually the pagan name for the holiday. That's like a Catholic day, a Catholic name for the holiday, like an early Catholic Church name for it to convert pagans. Um, but I don't care. I like the word Litha, but usually I do. Must confess, I don't call it Litha. I usually just say Fay Day because that's a holiday all about the fairies and the fairies, and pixies, and to me all forms of fae, goblins, um, trolls, and fairies and pixies and love pixies, sylphs and mer people, merfolk, all of that. I celebrate all of the fae on that day, except for elves, but I'll get to that later. Um, they have their own holiday because I love them that much. But excuse me, I lit some crazy incense for the first time. Can't remember even now what it's called, but it is really strong in my throat. Anywho, yes, I love Fay Day. It is awesome. Litha. I usually have intense journeys on that day. Really intense journeys. Like visions and astral journeying. It's awesome. Uh, of course, I celebrate my birthday, which is July 7th. That day is really special to me besides it being my day of birth. It's the seventh day of the seventh month, which in, I think in Greek mythology, now I forget if it's Greek or Roman. Although if it's Roman, it's probably Greek because they took it. But, I'm going to go ahead and say Greek. Anyway, that day, it is said that that's the day that Apollo and Artemis, or Apollo and Diana, were born. They were born on the seventh day of the seventh month. And I've always felt a huge draw to those gods. I worked with them a lot very early on. Me and a friend of mine who's also pagan, she really loves Diana. I really love Apollo. And we actually, that's a whole story actually. I won't go into it. We'll be here forever. But those gods are very dear to us, as are any twin gods. Me and her are twins, really, we are. I mean, not biologically, but we're the same but opposite, if that makes any sense, on like every level. I love her dearly. Shout out to my Ishna. Woo! Anywho. Yeah, I love that day. I celebrate the power of twins, the duality, the power of duality, the dual self. Doubles on that day are just important to me. And of course, I celebrate my own birthday. So, love that day. Love the number 7. Who doesn't? It's supposed to be lucky, right? Like, traditionally. Anywho. July 23rd is a day that I've just started implementing this past season. Like I was talking about when I was, like, creating this new wheel for myself, which is a pretty lengthy wheel. Just a lot of holidays on it. But I'm generally a very, like, down person. I struggle a lot with sadness. So I purposely made this to give myself tons of excuses to celebrate and to be happy. That's just what I need. I need a lot of spokes in my wheel. Otherwise, I'm just going to get really sad and stagnant. So, July 23rd is a day that I started implementing. July 23rd is traditionally, in the Roman mythology, the feast day of Neptune. However, I've started using that day, or really I'm going to start, using that day to celebrate not just Neptune, but Poseidon. I do not equate Roman and Greek gods. I really dislike that, actually. They are just separate deities, if you read their mythologies, before the Greek influence in the Roman world. Rome, I mean, USA, like the United States, we're really just a neo-Rome. We just like Rome, we just take every culture and make it our own culture. Like, we don't have our own culture anymore. You know, like this definitive culture. Unless you want to count, like, fast food and all these horrible things that we've made. That, of course, I partake in. But anyway, yes, I love the idea of celebrating July 23rd for Neptune, who is traditionally the god of fresh water, and his wife was the goddess of the sea. And then, of course, the Greek god Poseidon, the god of the sea. I really want to work with them both at the same time. I've worked with them separately. I don't think I've ever worked with them together. If I did, it was for strictly purposes of sexuality, which is a whole another video too. Um, but yeah, I love that. I love that day. I can't wait to do that because again, I haven't actually done it yet. This is just a new idea I've inserted into my wheel. Um. Uh. Oh. Actually, I left a holiday out back in April. So after Iostre and between Iostre and Morgan Le Fay Day. On April 22nd, I want to add in a new day this year. Um, April 22nd is a holiday from Asatru. Um, and it's, again, I know I'm saying this incorrectly. This is just the way I like to say it. Yggdrasil, the world tree. Uh, I'm going to kind of celebrate that as like Ether Day for me. Ether is what I call the fifth element, like the element of spirit or Akasha or whatever. Um, I want a whole day to celebrate that element. And I just thought that that fit in really nicely with the Yggdrasil because my experiences with Yggdrasil and Ether have been very close together. Like, for me, Yggdrasil is a solid a solid manifestation of the ether, the etheric river that I kind of see instead of a tree. But anyway, let's not get too complicated. Um, but no, I really love that day, and I can't wait to the idea of that day, and I can't wait to celebrate it. What else? Uh, oh, going back now to August 1st. Um, that is a day. Um, that is, what is that? Lunasa? Yeah, Lammas, Lunasa. I have always hated that holiday. I don't know why. I just have such a hatred towards it. Like this, just like disgust and like rubs me the wrong way. And I've tried to celebrate it a lot, and it just rubs me the wrong way. Like the energy of Lammas and Lunasa. I don't know why. Um, I don't know why. I don't think that I resist the concepts that that holiday holds, but it just has never felt right to me. For some reason, that feels like a Christian holiday to me. I don't know why, and it's weird because obviously I don't hold a huge resistance against Christianity anymore. But it's like it feels like all those days from when I was young where we're forced to celebrate church stuff, and I didn't want to. And I don't know, it's just weird. I should really dig into it more in some shadow work for reals. But I've never loved Lunasa and Lammas. I've actively been like, meh. Um, Anywho, I have already done this several years now in a row. I've turned it into a day of the mystery, where I venerate the concept of mystery and how the mystery is necessary in our lives. We shouldn't know everything. There should be mystery to everything. And I think the mystery is a force to me. The ether, the paradox, and the mystery are all so sacred to me, which I celebrate the paradox on September 21st. Yeah, the first day of autumn. Anywho, because it's kind of paradoxical that it's supposed to be the first day of autumn, but here in Alabama, it's still very much summer. And anyway, the paradox, the ether, and the mystery, I plan to make videos on, but those are concepts in my spiritual beliefs. They're like forces of nature that you cannot change. And so on that day, I celebrate the mystery. And then again, like I said, right after that, I celebrate the paradox on September 21st. And the concept of paradox and how people always have this quote that nature abhors a paradox. I disagree. I just disagree. I think paradox exists and thrives and is necessary, along with mystery and the ether. But and then of course I celebrate Halloween. I usually call it like Nether Day, which to me is like negative ether, right? Like it's like here's the ether. If it was like heaven, and then there's like the nether realm, right? Anywho, I'm getting really crazy now in this video, and it's getting convoluted and probably confusing. But I like the Italian name for Halloween or Samhain, which I don't like the term Samhain. I just don't. Sorry, just don't. I don't connect with it at all. So that's why I call it like Nether Day, or Shadow Fest, which is what the Italians call it. It's awesome. So yeah, like Day of Shadows, Halloween, Nether. Love that. Um, and that's actually one day that I do specifically go out of my way to celebrate 3 days in a row. The 30th, the 31st, and the 1st of November. So, um, the last holiday that I celebrate in the year is, of course, Christmas, which I feel like, at least here in America again, we all celebrate Christmas. It doesn't matter what religion you are, we celebrate it. So, like everyone does. Everyone does here. Everyone. So, yeah. That's the day that I celebrate specifically for the elves. Elves have been a huge, because, Yule on the 21st is like the day of Freyr, the god of the elves, and elves in Asatru and stuff like that. And heathenry and stuff. Elves have been a huge part of my coming to self, which I'll probably have to make a video on elves at some point too. Elves have been really big for me and really important in my growth and learning my identity. So I have a whole day set aside just to worship them and I never use the term worship, but worship them and like revel in their energy, take them in and venerate them and honor them and channel them. And I love elves and I just love them. And that's my day for elves. And that's also the day that I usually celebrate Odin, my father. Even though that's the day of Freyr. But yeah, I love elves, and so I'll celebrate Christmas then. And then, of course, that loops back around to New Year's. But what does the Wheel of the Year mean to me? What is my take on it? That's my take on it, I guess, that video. But what does it mean to me? I said this earlier. It's necessary for my spiritual wellness and for my mental wellness and my emotional wellness. Without holidays, I don't use the term Sabbats. I just don't. Another word I just don't jive with. But they're just so necessary for humans. We've been doing them since the dawn of time. You need holidays. You need excuses and breaks and allowed breaks to stop, chill, celebrate things, focus on the positives, and release the negatives. You just need those days. You need to be allowed to release, stop what's normal for you, have this explosive experience of releasing negativity and bringing in positivity. And that's what the wheel is to me. If I even consider it a wheel, I just don't really consider it anything. There's no metaphor for the holidays for me. But anywho, that's my video. I hope it wasn't too like bitchy or like arrogant sounding, because sometimes I feel like I get that way when I talk about things that don't jive with the norm, and I don't mean to sound that way. But so I hope it wasn't offensive to any witches and Wiccans. I really hope I wasn't. I apologize if I was. So I don't mean it to come out the way, but maybe it sounded to you when I was like, I don't care about the pronunciations and I don't like that holiday. I don't mean it as harshly as it sounds. So take everything I said with a couple of grains of salt. But anywho, that's my video for this week, you guys. Can't wait for next week either. Super excited for talking about winter. So, like what? Anyway, we'll get there. That was my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it. I really had to limit myself a lot to not speak longer than like this, like 30 minutes almost. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And bye for now.